It's the Then versus Now Challenge! 3!
And welcome back, fans!
It's quarterfinal race 1 for Group 1 of the Then vs. Now Challenge 3.
And boy, do we have a super exciting race today! So let's get right into it and meet today's racers. Up first, we have the driver that answered our first ever open call. And just a reminder, if you want to be a driver in one of our videos, just follow the directions on screen. Anyway, representing Team Then, all the way from Barranquitas, Puerto Rico, where he works in his father's shop, it's Scrapyard superfan Aramis Rodriguez, racing in his 1996 Subaru SVX. And Aramis officially kicked off this tournament by competing in Race 1, where he set the bar really high by quickly sending Royal Valencia home after scoring a perfect shutout victory.
Then for Team Now, it's the longest lasting survivor in this group. It's Canada's favorite stay-at-home mom, Miss Imelda Roy from Richmond Hill, Ontario, Canada, in her daily driver grocery-getting 2006 Pontiac GTO. Imelda has been with us since all the way back in qualifying race 3, where she fought for her spot in this tournament by taking out the cameras, herself, and most importantly the rest of the competition. Ultimately, she ended up tying with another GTO we dubbed the Patriot. And when they faced each other again in race 3 of this tournament, they were tied again. But in the final heat, Miss Roy went back to the classics and again took out the camera, herself, and the competition, sending the Patriot home and herself to the quarterfinals here today.
Man, you can totally see why the fans love Mrs. Roy. She brings home the groceries and the wins. Up next, we have the only SUV in this group, but this isn't your average SUV. It's the 2017 Lamborghini Urus, driven by Ranveer Singh, all the way from Bombay, India. He put away another Lamborghini SUV driven by Miss Anna Mae Bullock. She didn't put up much of a contest as she struggled to make it past the turn, and I hear she's given up racing completely and has gone on to have a pretty successful music career. But let's see how Mr. Singh does today against some tougher competition.
And last but not least is another driver that has been with us since the qualifying rounds. From Columbus, Georgia, it's Benjamin Webb in his 1984 Toyota MR2. Dedicated fans will remember qualifying race 7 as one of the most frustrating races in Scrapyard history. We even had to threaten to send our old safety crew Toyota Land Cruiser with a plow to the tournament, as it seemed no driver was going to make it across the line. There were more cars catching on fire than were crossing the finish line.
Yeah, you and Wild Bob even had a pork chop cookout on one of the burning cars.
They were cinnamon-crusted ham hocks, and they were delicious.
Moving on. Seemingly not having learned their lesson in race 7, Dexter Hall in the insanely powerful Toyota Supra broke down while Benjamin Webb literally brought the fire. Now that we've met all the racers, let's get up to the guillotine gate and get this race started before the fans fire us and click on another video.
Hold on, Barry. I got one last surprise racer for this quarterfinal.
What? Who?
It's not really a who, more of a what. To turn up the competition, we're going to be sending down a remote control clunker as a decoy. And here's the best part. If the clunker passes you to the finish line, you lose a point for that heat.
Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1.
Wow, I just love seeing 5 cars lined up at the gate.
In Lane 1, we have Aramis in the SVX. In Lane 2, Benjamin Webb in the MR2. Lane 3 is our clunker. Lane 4 is Imelda Roy's GTO. And Lane 5 is our lone SUV. It's Ranveer Singh in the Urus.
I hope you're ready, fans, because these quarterfinals are starting now.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're off!
Pile up in the turn! Finishing off the jump!
Sing and the Clunker are out!
Aramis in reverse! Clunker's exploding!
Roy and Webb are out!
SVX turns around!
He scrapes the wall and is across the line!
Wow! We need to see that again in the replay, Barry! What a way to kick off these quarterfinals, Barry!
They keep a tight grouping coming down Nevada. Even the Clunker stayed in formation. Then in the bottleneck, the Clunker goes for a pit maneuver against Aramis's SVX, which actually gets that Subaru in the air. But it has an even better effect on the MR2 and the drivers behind it, because that's when the mayhem starts.
In Carmine Corner, Benjamin Webb's MR2 regains control while sending the SVX on its roof.
And our Clunker is doing its work by blocking Roy's GTO and sending the Urus onto its very expensive roof.
And then everyone comes flipping their way into Clunker Canyon, sending clunkers off the side.
Everyone except Ranveer Singh's Urus, who scrapes to a halt right at the edge of the ramp.
And Ranveer might have been smart by keeping that Lamborghini off Clunker Canyon, because as we can see from our wide shot, those clunkers did not go easy off the side of the cliff. They literally fell down and went boom!
We can also see how hard Imelda Roy struggled to try and get that GTO back on its wheels, but with no luck.
Someone who was lucky was Aramis Rodriguez, because he hit the inside corner on his way into the boulevard, which spun his car around. And then, being the only driver left in this heat, he played it safe and hugged the wall all the way across the line.
He didn't play it too safe because he still went slamming into the tires after the line, sending bits of rubber everywhere and his SVX onto its door. But the other place it sent him was onto our scorecard, because as the only racer to cross the line, he got 5 big points, while everyone else gets 0.
Man, Barry, our remote control clunker did way better than I expected. He blocked 4 drivers from crossing the line at all. And that's way more devastating at their chances of winning than just losing a point. That's just brutal. We are back at the guillotine for Heat 2.
Lane changes now sees Benjamin Webb's MR2 in the pole position. 1 lane over is Ranveer Singh's Lamborghini in lane 2. The remote control clunker is back in its reset position of lane 3. The only person with points on the board, Aramis Rodriguez, is in lane 4, and Miss Imelda Roy closes us out in lane 5. Now let's hit that countdown button.
You got it, Barry.
3, 2, 1, go!
Big wreck!
You're upside down in the turn!
Bouncing off the jump!
Aramis and Roy are out! Makes it through!
So does the clunker!
Singh pulls over!
MR2 ping-ponging down the street!
Clunker tries to catch up, but it doesn't beat the MR2 across the line! That was a lot of action, Al. Let's break it all down in the replay.
Another great heat, Barry.
Once again, all 5 racers keep it tight coming down Nevada.
But in the bottleneck, the clunker manages to block the MR2 and spin it around.
And it looks like our superfan Aramis was using the 4-wheel drive in that Subaru to try and drive over the clunker.
But Webb manages to spin that MR2 around on the way into Carmine Corner. And now it's Ranveer Singh in the Urus that's trying to use his 4-wheel drive to get over that clunker. But it backfires and he ends up on his roof.
Then everyone comes in for a harsh landing off the jump into Clunker Canyon.
Some racers actually manage to bounce through, but Aramis is out, and for the second time in the same spot, so is Imelda Roy.
Then when we pull the camera back, we could see that Benjamin Webb pulled off an expert-level J-turn and was able to get that tiny MR2 spun back around.
And our clunker was able to straighten out and stay in this race, thanks to some help from his clunker buddies. Plus, it looks like you spoke too soon on that expert-level J-turn, Barry, because Benjamin Webb actually overcooks it and goes directly into the wall at the opening of the boulevard. And then, it looks like he went back to his qualifying race days because his driving technique went out the window as he helplessly ping-pongs off the wall until he crosses the line.
Meanwhile, the clunker with its targets still locked on the MR2 goes head-on to him after the line.
Maybe that will knock some sense into Benjamin Webb and he'll get his head back in the game.
Or better yet, maybe the 5 big points Benjamin Webb just scored will help him refocus.
And everyone else was lucky they didn't make it across the line, because with that clunker coming in second, they would have all lost a point. Heat 3. Both racers with 0 points are now up front, with Ranveer's Urus in lane 1 and Imelda Roy's GTO in lane 2. The clunker is back home in lane 3. And the only 2 racers with any points are in the back row, with Artemis in lane 4 and Benjamin Webb in lane 5.
Good luck to all the racers.
And the clunker.
3, 2, 1, go!
Urus flips.
More flips in the turn.
Hard off the jump.
The Urus and the MR2 are out. Roy recovers.
Artemis is out.
And across the line.
Yes, that was awesome.
Another great heat, Al.
It all looked calm going down Nevada, but then, in the bottleneck, the clunker manages to flip that heavy Lamborghini over, and the other racers do their best to try and steer around.
And Imelda Roy, who worked so hard to get the lead, flips as she exits Carmine Corner.
And the Urus and the MR2 also left the turn on their roofs instead of on their wheels.
Then coming into Clunker Canyon, it looks like Imelda Roy and Aramis Rodriguez were launched out of a cannon.
And behind them, Ranveer's Urus crashes out after the jump, and Benjamin's MR2 doesn't even make it off the ramp.
Then miraculously, Imelda Roy is able to do a barrel roll and get that GTO back on its wheels.
Even though Aramis also pulled off a barrel roll, I think Imelda's was just so awesome that the SVX had to pull over to admire it.
Then knowing she was all alone, Canada's most famous racer mom lets loose all 400 horsepower in that GTO and rockets across the line.
She crossed that line so fast she didn't even have time to hit that parachute she's carrying on her back bumper.
Well, the one thing Mrs. Imelda Roy did have time for was racking up 5 big points on the scorecard, which puts this race in a 3-way tie.
Heat 4, and we have a 3-way tie for first place.
Imelda Roy, fresh off her win, now in a pole position, is in a great place to increase her lead. Superfan Aramis Rodriguez tied for first, also up front in lane 2. The clunker in its steadfast position of lane 3. Ranveer Singh in lane 4 is desperately looking to get on the scorecard and is running out of heats to do it in. And Benjamin Webb closes out the pack in lane 5.
Alright, Barry, it's countdown time.
3, 2, 1, go!
Clunker goes wide!
Urus flips!
Barrel rolls everywhere!
Lamborghini and Toyota are out!
I don't believe it! The SVX recovers!
Is hit to the wall. He recovers and is across the finish line.
I need that replay. Now, Barry!
What a display of racing, Al.
Even the clunker is using strategy by going wide! I'm not sure who in the safety crew is working that remote, but they're doing a great job!
Well, whoever is working the controls had the clunker slam on the brakes in the bottleneck, causing the Urus to flip on its roof.
I really think in this race that Lamborghini has spent more time on its roof than on its wheels. Maybe he'll make it across the line if he starts the last heat on his roof and see if he can flip over onto his tires. And by the time they're in Carmine Corner, 3 out of the 4 racers were on their roofs. Then, 5 out of 5 cars missed the landing in Clunker Canyon. Everyone has been having a hard time landing that jump this whole race.
We made that jump harder for that very reason, Al. These are the then versus now quarterfinals at Scrapyard Diecast Racing. This is not a joyride at the Woodward Boulevard Dream Cruise.
Well, someone who looks like they just had their dreams come true is Aramis Rodriguez, because he was the only racer able to recover, and he got that Subaru back on its wheels.
Even though he gets loose and makes contact with the wall in the boulevard, he never lets off the gas pedal until he makes contact with the tires after the finish line.
And another place he just made huge contact is on the scorecard, because he just turned this three-way tie into a one-man show and is now the clear leader. This is it. We are back at the guillotine gate for the final heat.
The racers are back in their original positions. In lane 1, we have points leader Aramis in the SVX. Benjamin Webb, tied for second, is in lane 2. Lane 3 is our clunker. Lane 4 is Mrs. Imelda Roy and her GTO, also tied for second. And in lane 5 is the Lamborghini. Needs a win here in order to survive.
All right, Barry, it's the last countdown.
3, 2, 1, go!
Urus gets blocked!
Urus out of control!
Roy and the Urus are out!
Aramis lands the choke!
MR2 is out! Clunkers explode! Aramis all alone!
He's straight down the boulevard!
Look at that! He went back over the line and crossed it again! Man, he really wants people to know he won that one!
Okay, Al, don't get excited. We'll see it again in the replay.
That was awesome, Barry! It seems like everyone knew the racer to take out was Ranveer Singh, and they all teamed up on him and pushed him into the wall at the end of Nevada. And he looks like a lost satellite drifting in space as he helplessly spins through the bottleneck.
And you can just catch a glimpse of him flipping back onto his roof on the way out.
And by the time he's in Carmine Corner, he is clearly roof sliding again. That's 5 for 5 heats where that Lamborghini flipped over.
Unfortunately for Mrs. Imelda Roy, she also ended her heat on her roof in the turn.
Well, someone who was on their wheels was Aramis Rodriguez, who actually managed to land the jump.
Unlike our clunker and the MR2 that crashed and sent clunkers over the edge with explosive results.
And from that wide shot, we can see just how well Aramis landed that jump, shifted in reverse, and never looked back. Wait, he's in reverse. So he never looked front. He never looked front, correct?
Forget it, Al. The only place we know he was looking for sure was at the finish line, because he comes straight down the boulevard and crosses the line.
And like I said during the race, he then recrosses the line because he's trying to drive that point home. This win belongs to me and only me. Aramis, that's some hardcore racing spirit right there.
Well, another place Aramis's racing spirit is coming through is on the scorecard, because he just ran away with first place with 15 big points. He is clearly today's winner.
And literally on the flip side, with a big fat 0 points, is Ranveer Singh, who is clearly tonight's loser. But, will you look at that? With 5 points apiece, Benjamin Webb and Miss Imelda Roy are tied for second.
And we all know what that means.
Oh yes we do, Barry. It means it's time for... Sudden Death. I can't believe it, Barry. It's the first quarterfinal of the Then vs. Now challenge, and we already have a sudden death heat.
The first racer across the line will be joining Aramis Rodriguez in the semifinals. Having scored first, the MR2 gets lane 1. Mrs. Imelda Roy is in lane 2. And the clunker, as always, is in lane 3.
I guess Heat 5 was not the last countdown. This one is. Maybe.
3, 2, 1, go!
Imelda cuts in! She flips the MR2!
Benjamin Webb is out!
Clunker hits the truck!
Imelda lands the jump! Imelda Roy all alone!
Can she make it across the line?
Here she comes!
Oh no, she's into the wall!
But she makes it across the line!
This is it. One last replay, Barry. That was beyond awesome, Barry.
Mrs. Imelda Roy was on a mission. She pays zero attention to the clunker and immediately goes for a block coming down Nevada.
But the clunker operator didn't forget to pay attention and tries to block both racers in the bottleneck.
And 2 cars blocking that tiny MR2 was just more than Benjamin Webb's car could handle. And it flips that tiny car right as it exits the bottleneck.
And by the time he's in Carmine Corner, there's no way he's flipping that tiny car over. And his long journey that started all the way back in the qualifying rounds ends right there on his roof during a sudden death heat.
But someone who did not want the race to end was Mrs. Imelda Roy, who has also been with us since the qualifying races. And she shows just how hungry she is for that win by landing the jump.
I'm sure she is hungry. I mean, that car is her grocery getter. It must smell like food in there all the time.
Al, focus please.
Right, like the way Miss Roy focused when she straightened up and hit the gas coming out of Clunker Canyon.
Much better. Thank you, Al. While she was all alone, she loses grip coming into the boulevard and double taps the inside wall before spinning and crossing the line in reverse.
But I'm sure right now Imelda Roy couldn't care less how she crossed the line. The only thing she must be thinking about in that car is she's joining our superfan in the semifinals. Well, she's thinking about that, and she's probably also thinking about food, because that car is her grocery getter, and it must smell like food all the time in there.
Al, what did I just say? Focus.
Right. Sorry. It's just all this food talk is making me hungry.
You're the only one talking about food.
Well, fans, if you're hungry...
Al!
Let me finish. Fans, if you're hungry for more racing, join us next time when we have the first quarterfinal race for Group 2. See? I made it about racing.
Barely. Well, fans, we hope you enjoyed our first quarterfinal race. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Please leave us a comment below and let us know what you thought of this race.
And be sure to like and share this video. Or even better, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a race.
It's the Then versus Now Challenge! 3!
Welcome back, fans. It's quarterfinal race 1 for Group 2 of the Then vs. Now Challenge 3. It's been a while since we've met for this event. How have you been, Al?
I'm great, Barry. While we were away, I went to the state fair and I met a special lady. And I can't wait to introduce you to her.
That's nice, Al. But this is a family-oriented racing channel. We don't talk about our personal lives.
Of course I know. Scrapyard Diecast Racing is the only channel approved by the Car Code Authority, guaranteeing family-friendly entertainment. But this wasn't personal. This was all business.
Al, have you lost your mind?
I hired an employee.
You what? You don't have hiring authority? Even I don't have hiring authority.
Barry, trust me. You're gonna love her. But stop wasting the fans' time and let's meet today's racers. Up first, we have the driver that was in the race that kicked off Group 2. For Team Now, in the 2003 Opel Speedster, it's Everett Kittner, and he's back all the way from Berlin, Germany. And if you're a dedicated fan, then you'll remember these Opels did such a bad job getting down our track, I even took some time to redesign the company's logo. Maybe Mr. Kittner changed his car's emblem from Speedster to Slowster.
Al, be nice.
Anyway, next we have someone who might not have one of the fastest ever vehicles on our track, but probably one of the most entertaining. Back again, it's Norman Jordan from Virginia Beach, Virginia, in his 2020 Jeep Gladiator. And if you watched qualifying race 4, then you remember he sent that Jeep into the sky so many times we dubbed him Air Jordan.
No we did not. At no time did we ever do that. That's copyrighted, and no one at Scrapyard Diecast Racing ever made that claim.
Did we call him Big Air Jordan?
Are you purposely trying to lose us subscribers, Al? That belongs to a completely different channel. We didn't say that either.
Anyway, in race 3 of the tournament, Jordan took his entertaining skills to a whole nother level when his car exploded and he somehow managed to land back in the guillotine gate. And if you didn't watch that race and that sounds wild, trust me, that whole race was just insanity shifted into four-wheel drive.
And speaking of four-wheel drive, up next is our only representative for Team Then. It's Ruben Short in his classic 1965 Gen 2 Safari, all the way back from Johannesburg, South Africa.
And he may be the dirtiest of dirty drivers we've ever had at Scrapyard Diecast Racing, because he was carrying explosives in his roof rack.
That's an unproven conspiracy theory, Al. Trusted sources say it was faulty wiring that caused any combustion.
Trusted sources? Like who? Who do you trust?
Who do I trust? Me. That's who.
Well, I still say he was playing dirty, unlike our last racer, who is the epitome of sportsmanship. That's right, I'm talking about Zach Taylor from Phoenix, Arizona, in his 2006 Golf GTI Mark V. And Zach has been with us all the way back since the last qualifying race. And to close out those qualifying rounds, we decided to up the intensity and eliminate the final heat. And boy, did those VWs deliver the action. Plus, as I mentioned before, Zach is all about sportsmanship. And in race 7, Zach faced fellow Team Now member Stephen Bennett. And they took turns letting each other win to show what teamwork is all about.
Actually, if I remember correctly, Zach had an illegal bottle of nitrous oxide in his car, boosting the performance, and it exploded on impact.
Oh, so now you're the one peddling in conspiracy theories, Barry?
It's not a theory, it's just the popular opinions of all our fans online.
Well, speaking of online, how about we get these racers on the starting line and get this race started?
Hold on, Al. Aren't you forgetting something?
I already said, you'll meet my special lady later.
Al, I don't even know what you're talking about with that. I meant the clunker.
The clunker? Oh, right, the clunker! To up the competition, we're gonna be sending down a remote-controlled clunker as a decoy. And here's the best part. If the clunker passes you to the finish line, you lose a point for that heat.
Great! Now we really have to get this race started. Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1.
In Lane 1, we have the Noble Everett Kittner in the Speedster. Lane 2, it's Jumping Jordan in the Gladiator. Lane 3 is our clunker. In Lane 4, we have the old-timey Land Rover. And in Lane 5 is Zach Sportsmanship Taylor. In the broadcast booth is me and Barry. And watching this video is you at home.
Enough, Al. We get it.
3, 2, 1, go!
And they're off!
Jordan blocks!
Land Rover flips!
Ruben Short and Mr. Sportsmanship are out!
What a move by the Opal!
Norman Jordan is out!
He's gonna make it!
Everett Kittner across the line! Al, what is that at the end of the line?
It's a steel pipe I had the safety crew paint white and install at the finish line.
What? Why?
Obviously, to protect the tires from the racers crashing into them all the time.
What? To protect the tires? We're in a junkyard. We have an endless supply of tires. Oh, never mind. Let's just get to the replay.
What a way to kick off the quarterfinals for Group 2, Barry! As soon as the gate goes up, Norman Jordan steps up for Team Now and immediately uses that big Gladiator to go toe-to-toe with that relic of a Land Rover and block. And he's able to hold that block for the length of the bottleneck. And in Carmine Corner, that Land Rover is belly up. And seeing that the only member of Team Then is out, Zach Taylor again puts sportsmanship over winning and sacrifices himself to block the clunker so the rest of his team can focus on winning.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yup. And what I was not expecting to happen was the Opal pulls an amazing two-wheeled landing coming off the jump. That looked like a move from a summer action movie.
And while Ruben Short was able to slide that Land Rover off the ramp, unfortunately he couldn't get it back on its wheels.
And when we go to the wide shot, we could see that the Opal's move gets even more awesome. Because after he gets all four tires on the ground, Everett Kittner does an awesome reverse slide to get that Speedster facing forward. That was just amazing. Then, coming into the boulevard, he has that Speedster all out, and he just lightly brushes against the wall and goes across the line.
and into your ridiculous steel pipe. Can we have that removed during the scorecard segment, please?
But what about when the racers smash into the tires?
The only thing around here that's gonna get smashed is you if you don't get rid of that pipe. And Al, if you want to focus on smashing, why don't you focus more on one of your Team Now racers that just smashed into the scorecard with 5 big points, taking a very early lead in this race.
If he keeps this up, I might have to stop calling that car a Nopal.
We are back at the gate for Heat 2. Lane change now sees Norman Jordan's Giant Gladiator in the pole position. Zach, back on his wheels, Taylor is in lane 2. Our clunker is in lane 3. The only racer with points, Everett Kittner, is in lane 4. And the only member of Team Then closes us out in lane 5.
And now, countdown time.
3, 2, 1, go!
Land Rover goes in for the push. Zach Taylor in reverse.
Norman Jordan and the clunker are out.
Taylor and the Opal make the jump.
The Land Rover is out.
Taylor loses it.
Opal pushes through. Kittner all alone and across the line.
Whoa, did you see how hard he went into the tires? See, this is exactly why I put the steel pipe there.
Ow!
Another action-packed heat, Barry. As soon as the gate goes up, Ruben Short in his Land Rover uses all that curb weight to push the tiny by comparison VW in front of Norman Jordan. That was a pretty good play. He was trying to take out all of Team Now in one shot. And shout out to whoever in the safety crew is operating the remote control on that clunker. He obviously caught wind of that plan and immediately slams on the brakes to keep the clunker out of the mess. Meanwhile, Zach Taylor was trying to clear out that mess by quickly shifting in reverse and hitting the gas.
While that did clear the way for the Opel Speedster, it was no help for the 2 big trucks because they both had massive trouble in the turn.
Also, in Clunker Canyon, Zach Taylor performs a textbook reverse landing, and Everett Kittner also manages to land the jump, but he comes down hard on the nose of that little speedster.
Furthermore, and unfortunately, Ruben lives up to his last name and he comes up short and couldn't make it over the ramp. And shortly thereafter, Zach Taylor performs his second textbook move by showing us all how not to avoid the clunkers, and he goes frantically spinning onto his roof.
Not funny, Barry. I'd rather focus on how Zach Taylor's team spirit is spreading to Everett Kittner, who used his speedster to try to give his VW partner a push to help him get back on his wheels.
But that push did very little because Zach Taylor was nowhere to be found. And for a second time in this race, Everett Kittner's Opel was all alone coming down the boulevard.
And also for the second time, he went full speed over the line, which caused him to slam so violently into the safety tires that he was launched back over the line. And for the second time, he's the only one to put any points on the scorecard. I'm serious. If he keeps this up, Barry, I may have to apologize for all the things I said about him and Opel all the way back in race 1. We are back at the Guillotine Gate for Heat 3. Zach Taylor is in the pole position. In lane 2, Ruben Short's Artifact Land Rover is up front for the first time. The ever-faithful clunker is in lane 3. Giant Jumping Jordan has his work cut out for him to try to get some points starting all the way back at lane 4. Unlike the racer to his right, Everett Kittner, who is sitting pretty with a huge first-place lead.
Not bad, Al. That almost sounded semi-professional.
3, 2, 1, go!
They go wide.
Jordan is loose!
Jordan is out, and the Opel can't get around.
Taylor and Short make the jump!
The clunker roof spins and is out.
Short tries to block! Taylor in reverse and steers around! Zach all alone! He's into the tires and spins himself around for a photo finish! Boom! And that's how it's done, Barry.
How what's done?
Sportsmanship! Zach Taylor goes wide, and what looked like Norman Jordan losing it was actually Jordan giving Zach as much room as possible by executing a reverse pit maneuver to take out the clunker.
Instead of the clunker, maybe they should have focused on Ruben Short's Safari, because he was able to flip Zach Taylor over in the turn. And even after all his reverse pit maneuvering, the clunker made it through the turn while Jordan ended up on his roof and blocked his own teammate, which left the Opal no room to get around. Then, coming off the jump, Ruben Short tries his hardest to get that heavy, solid-built tank to land on top of the VW, all while expertly avoiding the clunkers and, more importantly, our camera.
But even though he was in reverse, Zach Taylor was able to get that nimble GTI around, while Short went into the clunkers with explosive results. Then Zach Taylor comes laser beam straight down the boulevard and across the finish line. Plus, he's able to spin his car to face forward so he looks pretty as I say this. With that win, Zach Taylor now joins Everett Kittner's Opal on the scorecard. That was a beautiful performance, Barry. And speaking of beautiful performances, that's a perfect segue to introduce you to the special lady I met at the state fair and hired.
Al, what are you doing?
Trust me, Barry, you and the fans are gonna love it. This is gonna be awesome. Guys, hit that intro. Ladies and gentlemen, Diecast fans of all ages, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the greatest stunt woman of all time, Captain Tara Bell.
What stunt is she gonna do, Al?
She's going to jump her rocket car over our car carrier while it's parked the long way.
Are you sure she can do this, Al?
Of course she could do it, Barry. She's a professional.
That does not instill me with much confidence, because in terms of broadcasting, you're technically a professional.
Thanks, Barry.
That was not a compliment.
Hold on to your hats, fans. This is gonna be awesome. There she is, in the guillotine gate, ready to go. Once she gets those turbines up to speed, she'll be ready to blast off.
Let's hope she blasts off instead of blows up.
Don't worry, Barry. She's a professional.
So I've heard.
Shush, Barry. I'm about to hit the countdown button.
3, 2, 1, go!
Take off!
Zoom! Through the turn! Oh no!
Incredible!
Oh boy!
Spectacular! Al?
I already know what you're gonna say. That was unforgivable.
Right! That was unbelievable!
What?
Look how she rockets down the hill, and then she rockets even faster through the bottleneck! It's more thrust than she can handle, and it causes her to barrel roll through the turn! And what's this? A new camera angle? I love how we could see her do another barrel roll off the jump, right before we see her
Explode and crash into the truck?
Yes! 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 That's my favorite part! Look how she was able to crash into the truck and set the lower level clunkers loose while exploding! You know what I call that?
A tremendous accident?
Exactly! A tremendous act and event! And then while Tara Bell goes up like a ball of flame, she manages to have the clunkers line up like a set of Blue Angels before they also come crashing at full speed into the barricade where Tara Bell should have ended her stunt. You know where I think Captain Tara Bell is going after all this, Al?
The hospital?
Exactly! The top of it all! Why do you keep whispering, Al? I predict she's gonna be big, with those driving skills, friendly personality, and that killer smile. We've got a star on our hands. I predict she's gonna be a billion-dollar franchise for the Scrapyard.
What? We're nowhere near being monetized. On any platform.
Not yet, we're not. But I'm sure with that performance, Captain Tara Bell has the power to zap us and our channel to exactly where we need to go. Great job. What a find, Al. I could watch her crash all day. We are back at the Guillotine Gate for Heat 4 after that amazing halftime show. What did you think, fans?
I think they should forget it ever happened.
Leave us a comment below if you want to see more of Captain Tara Bell.
Barry, focus. The race.
Apologies, fans. I'm just so pumped up from that halftime show. I say we skip the intros and get right to the countdown for some more action.
Whatever gets us past that halftime show.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're tight.
Too close to call.
Safari flip.
Calamity in the canyon.
Opal and Taylor through.
I don't believe it. A 1-2 finish. You know what I call that, Barry?
A cue for a replay.
I was gonna say sportsmanship. What do you gotta say about Team Now, Barry?
That was quite an impressive performance, Al.
You're telling me, Barry.
With the amount of heats running out, the tension is up and the racers kept it tight all through the bottleneck.
But in the bottleneck, Everett Kickner does the unthinkable. He somehow gets that pocket-sized Opal to not only block, but to flip over that city bus-sized Land Rover Safari.
And unfortunately, like Jack from the fairy tales, with his crown broken, Reuben Short goes tumbling down the hill.
And in the back like Jill, Zach Taylor comes tumbling after. And in the wide shot, we could see that the speedster steers around while showing off with an impressive drift. What a way to showboat for the fans watching at home. And not to be outdone, Zach Taylor shifts it into reverse and is right on his teammate's back bumper. Then, they each pick a wall to hug and zoom down the boulevard, and across the finish line they dash. And speaking of dashes, with that 1-2 finish, Team Now is clearly in the lead. And while being nowhere on the scorecard, Team Then may as well replace their zeros with dashes, because so far Reuben Short has failed to make it across the line. It's the final heat. Team Now already has this one all wrapped up. The racers are back in their original Heat 1 positions. No matter what miracle Reuben Short pulls off in this heat, it makes no difference because he has no chance of advancing. And it would be nice if Norman Jordan, who has struggled against these much smaller cars, could cross the line so that all members of Team Now went home today with some points.
Al, no one is going home if you don't stop blabbing and let me hit the countdown button.
3, 2, 1, go!
It's chaos!
It's madness! Unbelievable! Opal in reverse!
Bumpers explode!
All out and across the line for another win, Barry! I need to see all of that again in the replay. That was incredible, Barry. It started out by what looked like was going to be a standard race by everyone keeping tight coming down Nevada.
Then in the bottleneck, the remote control clunker successfully managed to flip Reuben Short and Zach Taylor.
And in the turn, Norman Jordan finally came alive, steering around all that mayhem. But then, in Clunker Canyon, something that has never happened in Scrapyard Diecast racing history happened. Norman Jordan saved his giant jumps for the last heat and decided to put on a show for the fans by landing on a car carrier. And yet, even more spectacular, Reuben Short flies off the cliff but on the wrong side. And he managed to explode his way onto the Dunn pile.
Wrong event, Al.
Oh, sorry, Barry. Anyway, in the wide shot, you can see Everett Kittner expertly get that speedster back on its wheels and shift into reverse and then zoom out of there before things get too hot in the canyon.
And even while upside down, the remote control clunker still did its job and was able to block Zach Taylor and prevent him from scoring any more points.
Well, someone who was not going to be stopped was Mr. Kittner in the Opal. He speeds down the boulevard and crosses the line. And the other thing he just did is make me eat my race 1 words. Because after this massive blowout of a win, he just made me rethink my stance on Opal. Maybe they're not garbage after all. I mean, while this wasn't a shutout, that little speedster was able to win 4 out of 5 heats. And he finishes with a massive 20 points. That is leaps and bounds better than the measly 1 win he was able to eke out in race 1. My apologies for ever doubting your skills, Mr. Kittner. He definitely deserves his spot in the semifinals. And so he won't be going there all alone. Proving once again sportsmanship pays off, Zach Taylor in the VW GTI Mark V will be joining him in the semi-finals. Too bad we don't give points for exploding and crashing your way into a completely different Scrapyard event, or else Ruben Short for Team Then might be joining them in the semi-finals as well.
And while Team Then did not perform well this race, I'll tell you someone who did. Captain Terabelle. Fans, I really hope you enjoyed her stunt as much as I did. Again, leave us a comment if you want to see her marvel us again.
And make sure to like and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And be sure to join us again when we go back to Group 1 for Quarterfinal Race 2.
It's the Then versus Now Challenge! 3!
Yes, yes, yes!
Welcome back, fans.
You're back, we're back, everybody's back for Quarterfinal Race 2 for Group 1 of the Then vs. Now Challenge 3. Let's get right into it and meet today's racers. Up first, we have a racer that's been with us since the very first qualifying race in this tournament. Representing Team Now, we have this beautiful 2020 LBWK 35 GT RR V2 driven by Tanner Zhang, who is back all the way from his hometown of Daozhou, China. And the Nissan Skylines never disappoint here at the Scrapyard. That's why we had them kick off this tournament all the way back in qualifying race 1. And Tanner did not disappoint and won that race, albeit from some heavy back and forth competition from Team Then driver Roberto Paul. But when they met again in race 2 of the tournament, Roberto Paul's hopes and dreams went tires up as Tanner Zhang delivered a decisive shutout victory. And also coming back for Team Now, it's the 2016 BMW M2, driven by another Tanner, Tanner Perry, from his hometown of Corpus Christi, Texas. And yet again, this is another how to win example by another Team Now member named Tanner on how to deliver a shutout victory, because he easily put away Maria Schultz in her extremely underpowered yet vintage BMW 2002.
And while not named Tanner like Mr. Perry, he is also from Texas and has also been with us since the qualifying rounds. Coming back for Team Then, it's Hayden Bradshaw from Grand Prairie, Texas in his 1985 Camaro IROC Z. And even though that race was fraught with issues when the guillotine gate kept malfunctioning, Hayden still delivered a definitive win. Then in race 6, even though Hayden had some combustion issues at the finish line, he was able to put away Team Now driver Harrison Duffy in his horsepower-heavy Camaro SS. And finally, we have the winner of our first ever 2-against-1 race. Back from Conway, Arkansas, in his grandpa's 1960 Chevrolet El Camino daily driver, it's Gary Campbell. And not only was he too able to deliver a how-to-win shutout performance, but along with his Team Then teammate Rolando Alvarez, they spontaneously created an all-new block that we dubbed the Club Sandwich.
And last but not least, we have an all-new clunker for round 2 of the quarterfinals. And if you remember from round 1, if the clunker passes you to the finish line, you lose 1 point for that heat.
Great. Now let's get up to that guillotine gate and get this race started. Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1.
In lane 1, it's the horsepower monster Nissan Skyline. In lane 2, it's the Prince of Pony Cars, the IROC Z. Lane 3 is our clunker. Lane 4 is Tanner 2 in the M2. And lane 5 is the farm boy, Gary Campbell in the El Camino.
Good luck to all the racers. Now let's get to that countdown.
3, 2, 1, go!
Nice and clean.
Watch out!
The fire station is on fire!
BMW pulls over and is out.
Really, Barry?
Clunker's exploding.
More fire!
Tanner Zhang in reverse.
Explosions everywhere!
Tanner in a tailspin, but he's hard into the tires and across the line.
And thankfully, not on fire. I need to see that again in the replay, Barry. I know in the past, I've said they put the heat in this heat, but this one was on a whole other level. It looks like Tanner Zhang tried to block the clunker, but instead he sent it flying into the firehouse, knocking it over and causing it to explode.
That is definitely a first in Scrapyard history. It's such a sight that Tanner Perry pulls over in total disbelief. We might have to change his name to Pullover Perry.
Not funny, Barry.
Meanwhile, in Clunker Canyon, we could see both Tanner Zhang and the clunker made it over the jump.
A big thumbs up to whoever is operating the controls of the clunker.
Unfortunately, Hayden Bradshaw was having trouble with his control because he sends that IROC right into the clunkers, sending a bunch of them over the side.
But here's something that probably happened way too fast for most fans to notice during the race. Remember during the intro when I said, and the Nissan Skylines never disappoint here at the Scrapyard? Well, look at this. While in reverse, Tanner Zhang pulls off a beautiful J-turn block, which literally sends the clunker into the car carriers and ricocheting into the other clunkers. That was amazing. And then, that J-turn morphed into an out-of-control 720-degree spin, but Tanner was able to straighten it out and cross the line while going backwards.
Well, the one place Mr. Zhang is not going backwards is on the scorecard, because as the only racer to cross the line, he's just taken an early lead with 5 big points.
Back at the Guillotine Gate for Heat 2.
All of Team Then is up front, with Hayden Bradshaw's IROC Z in the pole position, and his teammate, Gary Campbell, 1 lane to his right in the El Camino. In the back, we have the clunker in its reset position of lane 3. Lane 4 is Zhang in the Skyline. And in lane 5, last but not least, in the M2, it's Pullover Perry.
I said, not funny, Barry.
3, 2, 1, go!
Clunker blocks!
Zhang in reverse!
Firehouse still on fire!
Perry pulls over again!
Cut it out!
No, he is out! It's a pull-up! IROC and Nissan's battling out!
But Tanner Blackman is across the line! Skylines, do it again! Boom! Let's see that in the replay! Skylines and Team Now are a perfect match, Barry. The clunker was smart and tried to immediately take out Tanner Zhang's horsepower heavyweight. But that sent Tanner into the El Camino, causing Gary Campbell to go shiny side to the pavement.
And Mr. Zhang was able to shift in reverse and keep it on the road. Then in Carmine Corner, even though every single racer got sloppy, they somehow were able to make it through.
They probably couldn't believe that the firehouse was still on fire. Wait, why is the firehouse still on fire? The safety crew is literally right there. Bob, Wild Bob, can you hear me? You guys know that the firehouse is on fire, correct?
Of course we know that the firehouse is on fire. We're literally sitting right here. What do you think we are, as blind as my sweet old little Aunt Petunia?
Well then, why aren't you guys doing anything about it?
We don't need to do nothing about it.
What? Why not? What are you talking about?
That there's a firehouse, son, and we's professionals.
Meaning?
Meaning we ain't no dummies. So everything we up and buy for the firehouse is fireproof. So everything inside will be right as rain once the fire done and burn itself out. And Mr. Crane's gonna be real happy because we didn't waste his money running up the water bill.
Moving on. As we've seen, most of the cars made it off the jump, but the M2 came down roof first and was out.
Thank you.
For what, Al?
Not calling him Pullover Perry.
I didn't have to, because you just did.
Hey! But in the wide shot, we could see that Hayden Bradshaw gets a little loose, and his partner Gary Campbell and the clunker both try to block Tanner Zhang while on their roofs. But that Skyline GTR just has way too much horsepower to be stopped,
And in the boulevard, Bradshaw delivers a nice backwards block into Mr. Zhang, which sends him into the wall. But for the second time in this heat, Zhang expertly shifts it into reverse. And for the second time in this race, he crosses the line going backwards.
And the other thing he did for the second time is be the only one to cross the line and score those beautiful 5 big points.
Heat 3.
The only truck-like thing is in the pole position. In lane 2 is the other Tanner, who we're waiting for to cross the line and add some overall points to Team Now's scorecard. The clunker has returned home to lane 3 like a loyal robot vacuum. Lane 4 is the only member of Team Then that comes so close to crossing the line. And in lane 5 is Mr. Tanner, I already got this in the bag Zhang.
Wow, that didn't sound biased at all, Al.
Thanks, Barry.
That was not a compliment.
3, 2, 1, go!
Tanner takes off.
Everyone is on their roof.
It's calamity. Campbell blocks.
Perry pushes through. Campbell loses the block. Perry all alone and across the line. Well, would you look at that?
Look at what?
I'll get to it. But first, well, would you look at this? Tanner Zhang seemed to have some trouble at the transition into the bottleneck, and he takes almost the complete length of the bottleneck in the air, landing hard on his roof at the very, very end.
But he wouldn't be alone, because going around Carmine Corner, it seems like everyone was on their roof.
They was being careful,
What do you mean, Wow Bob?
cause everyone knows that during the fire, you should stay as low as possible to avoid breathing in all that smoke.
Well, no one was being careful coming off the jump in Clunker Canyon, because they were all crashing into everything, and Hayden Bradshaw and Tanner Zhang and the Clunker all called it quits right there.
Well, someone who was not ready to quit was Tanner Perry, because even though Gary Campbell tried to give that El Camino everything it had and pull off an upside-down block, Tanner decided to trade in his pullover nickname and upgrade to Push Through Perry. And Push Through Perry did exactly that as he pushed the El Camino to the side and decided to do like his Tanner teammate and back up over the line. And with that win, if you're not on Team Now and you're not named Tanner, then don't even waste your time looking at the scorecard, because you don't have any points on it.
What about the fans? Shouldn't they look at the scorecard if they're not named Tanner?
What? Oh yeah, right. Of course the fans should look at the scorecard. And then, they should also look at this. That's right, it's another halftime show with the world's greatest stunt woman. Captain Tara Bell. And let's hope she does better than last time.
Let's absolutely not. Her crashes are the best.
There she is, in the guillotine gate, ready to go. Once she gets the turbines up to speed, she'll be ready to blast off.
It would be great if they blew up right now.
Barry, you're supposed to be a professional.
I can't help it, Al. Everyone loves to see it when stunts go bad.
What happened to good luck to all the racers?
And if she blows up, then the luck belongs to all of us watching.
Not this time, Barry. 0 explosions. I'm sure she could do it. Good luck, Captain Tara Bell.
3, 2, 1, go!
Zoom!
Take off! Yes! She made it through!
Boom! She exploded! She almost had me fooled there for a second, Al.
How so, Barry?
Well, for starters, she went down both Nevada and the bottleneck without incident. Even going around Carmine Corner and her approach up to the ramp seemed to be unglamorous. But then, off the jump, she crashes into the tunnel wall, causing one of her engines to explode. And proving just how great of a stuntwoman she is, she not only blows herself up, but she does it without causing any damage to our car carrier or the clunkers.
She was supposed to jump over it, not around it.
Tomatoes, tomatoes, Al. And then, to end it all, instead of slowing down, she actually speeds up into the barricades and blows herself up for a second time. Double prizes! And you can tell just how proud of herself she was with that victory yell at the end.
I don't think she was shouting for joy.
Well, I sure was. That was another amazing performance by the great Captain Tara Bell. Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 4, after another amazing performance by Captain Tara Bell. Al, I wish we sold her performances on tape so I could watch them at home over and over.
On tape? What do you think this is, 1995?
Oh, how I wish, Al. Then Team Then would still be Team Now, and you'd still be at home crying in your diapers.
I think the only people who are going to be crying soon are your drivers from Team Then, because they only have 2 heats left and a whole lot of points to catch up on.
Good luck to all racers.
Oh sure, now you can say that.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go!
Madness in the bottleneck! The fire is out! The clunker holds on!
Not really!
Perry pushes through again! Straight like an arrow!
Perry all alone and across the line!
Push through, Perry does it again!
Tanner Zhang appeared to be opening up an impressive lead coming down Nevada.
And coming into the bottleneck, both members of Team Then literally went end over end trying to take out the points leader.
Then in Carmine Corner, they changed strategies and blocked push-through Perry from going high on the outside of the turn.
And since they were both upside down coming into Clunker Canyon, Hayden Bradshaw and Gary Campbell tried their best to make a mess and keep the M2 at bay. And in the wide shot, it's the Clunker, the IROC, the El Camino, and even his own teammate in the Skyline that all unforgivably get pushed to the side by Push-Through Perry. And then Push-Through Perry comes down the boulevard like a wire-guided missile and crosses the line for the most decisive win so far in this race. And another place Push-Through Perry decided to be decisive on is on the scorecard, because he just guaranteed that both Tanners are moving on. It's the final heat. Team Now already has this one all wrapped up. This is pretty much a mercy run to see if Team Then can get at least 1 point on the scorecard. There's really no way they can embarrass themselves any further apart from a 1-2 win from Team Now and a double DNF by Team Then. But for whatever it's worth, good luck to Team Then.
3, 2, 1, go!
Last one.
Tanner flips!
IROC leads.
Push-Through Perry is out!
IROC on his move. The clunker blocks and is across the line! I don't believe it! Man, that was amazing! I need to see that again, like right now! What a way to end this one, Barry! At the start, I said there was really no way for Team Then to embarrass themselves any further, but they just lost to a clunker!
Everyone lost to the clunker. Not even Push-Through Perry made it to the line.
Right, but he didn't need to win. Team Then did. And it really looked like Hayden Bradshaw was gonna roof slide his way across the line because he had so much momentum leaving Clunker Canyon. And yet, once he gets to the boulevard, boom! Out of the shadows comes the Clunker and blocks his chances into oblivion. And then it pulls off a perfect J-turn and crosses the line for a first ever Clunker win.
Since no one crossed the line, it's zeros all around for the final heat.
Hold on, Barry. We just made Scrapyard history. The clunker actually won a heat. And since Team Ben is out, and it doesn't really matter in the overall standing, I'm giving that clunker 5 points.
Unfortunately, Team Then had a tough time in today's race, and we have to say goodbye to two great racers. One who has been with us since the qualifying rounds, and the other the first ever winner of our 2-against-1 race.
Unlike the two Tanners, who instead of saying goodbye, will be saying hello to the semifinals, because they are both moving on. And will ya look at that? 3 of the 4 racers in the Group 1 semifinals are from Team Now. What a great performance by Team Now.
I'll tell you who had the best performance of the day. Captain Tara Bell. Fans, I hope you enjoyed her stunt as much as I did. Again, leave us a comment if you want to see her marvel us again.
And be sure to like and share this video. Or even better, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a race.
It's the Then versus Now Challenge! 3!
Welcome back, fans.
Wow, 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 wow. I can't believe this is the last quarterfinal race. So let's get right into it and meet today's racers. Up first, we have a racer that's become a fan favorite. That's right, it's Ms. Shelley Harper from San Francisco, California, in the now world-famous 2019 VW Beetle convertible. And she has been with us since all the way back in qualifying race 2. And even if she doesn't win this tournament, she has already set 2 records here at the Scrapyard. The first one is for the most costume changes of any racer here at the Scrapyard. And her first record comes as a result of her second one, because she has spent more time than any other driver on the Scrapyard track. And no, not as a driver, I mean literally on the track, because she has been ejected from her car more times than any other driver in our channel's history. But even still, she made it through the qualifying rounds, and in race 2 of the tournament, she faced the heavily favored German driver Emma Ranz in the 1962 VW Beetle, where yet again, Shelley was thrown from her car, and that little convertible was able to win heats all on its own.
Up next, we have a celebrity from the world of diecast racing. It's the one, the only, the legend from Norm and Vern Racing. It's the V-Man, aka Vern Davis, in his beautiful 1992 Mercedes-Benz 500E. And he's back all the way from his hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And in race 4, he proved it's not always about high-priced, heavily teched-out horsepower machines. That when it comes to winning races, sometimes it's just about being the best. And the V-Man showed he had the skills it took to come out on top in a very bitter and very difficult battle to his way to the quarterfinals here today.
And back to Team Now, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the 2002 Civic Si, it's Mr. Oliver Cooper. Mr. Cooper has been with us since the qualifying rounds, where he competed in one of the most brutal races of this tournament. That race had it all, from the guillotine gate malfunctioning to cars launching themselves full speed into the camera. It was wild, but the calamity didn't stop there. Things were just as wild in race 6 of the tournament, where Mr. Cooper had to fight for his place here today by facing Matthias Rollins in the pocket-sized N600. That race was so crazy, we even had to run a disclaimer to remind everyone just how seriously we take safety here at the Scrapyard. It was classic Scrapyard diecast racing action.
And speaking of classics, that brings us to our last competitor. It's the classic, never seen on American roads, 1994 Renault Twingo, driven by Miss Marie-Claire Duchamp, all the way back from her famous hometown of Le Mans, France. And if you've been following this tournament, then you already know Miss Duchamp competed in our second ever 2-against-1 race with fellow Team Then partner Miss Sylvie Lalonde in her equally classic Renault 5 TL Le Car. And those two ladies made quick work of Team Now's Andre Marchand. The two of them look like a tag team from the glory days of the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, the way they delivered a perfect shutout victory for Team Then.
And last but not least, it's our all-new clunker for round 2. And if you remember from round 1, if the clunker passes you to the finish line, you lose a point for that heat.
Great! Now let's get up to the guillotine gate and get this race started. Finally, here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1.
In Lane 1, it's Shelly Harper in the Beetle Convertible. In Lane 2, it's the V-Man. Lane 3 is our Clunker. In Lane 4 is Marie Duchamp in the Twingo. And closing us out in Lane 5 is Oliver Cooper in the Civic SI.
Good luck to all racers. Now let's get to that countdown.
3, 2, 1, go!
Shelly flips!
Massive block by the Clunker. The Twingo and the Civic are out.
Shelly and the V-Man make the jump! They're neck and neck!
V-Man cuts across and is over the line and takes the win.
And Shelly Harper comes in a very, very close second. Man, we need to see that again, Barry. Looks like Shelly Harper wasted 0 time getting herself in close contact with the track, because she flips that Beetle over and gets her helmet reacquainted with the blacktop here at the Scrapyard.
Meanwhile, both members of Team Then pulled off a beautiful 90-degree block. They looked like synchronized swimmers. That move was so perfectly timed. But I guess when you have a pro like the V-Man on your team, pulling off even the most difficult moves are made to look easy.
But then in Carmine Corner, Shelly Harper is able to get that Beetle back on its wheels and avoid the wrath of the Clunker. Just look at this, Barry. The Clunker lands on the V-Man, causing him to flip, and then he does some kind of kamikaze block, landing perpendicular on the track right in front of the Twingo, and that causes a hard collision between Duchamp's Twingo and Oliver Cooper's Civic, and that kicked in the emergency shutoff on both cars, and they limped to a halt.
But 2 racers not ready to halt were Miss Harper and the V-Man, because they both sail over the jump. And the V-Man once again proves how much of a pro he is, because he's able to come off that jump on his roof and flip that Mercedes over to land on his wheels.
That was a cool move, and I think it may have even distracted Shelly, because she veers off the road and sends some clunkers over the edge. But she quickly gets her head and her helmet back in the race, and she is fender to fender with the V-Man as they leave Clunker Canyon. Then coming into the boulevard, both racers cut across the track, but the V-Man edges out a lead and crosses the line for the win.
And Shelly had that Beetle all out and finished in a very respectable second. And that results in the V-Man getting 5 big points for that win. But not too far behind is Miss Harper with 3 points of her own.
Heat 2. Mandatory lane changes shifts our racers around.
The V-Man is now in the pole position. 1 lane to his right is Oliver Cooper's blue Civic. In lane 3 is our Clunker. Shelly Harper shifts to the back row in lane 4, and Marie Claire Duchamp and the Twingo close out the group in lane 5.
3, 2, 1, go!
And they're off. Through the bottleneck.
Shelly flips!
Now everyone flips.
Cooper is through! The V-Man gives chase!
V-Man misses the block. Cooper sneaks through.
Wow! Let's see that again in the replay, Al.
Another great heat, Barry. Everyone kept it relatively clean coming down Nevada.
Then in the bottleneck, the Clunker pulls off a pit maneuver on Shelly Harper's Beetle while blocking the Twingo at the same time.
And yet again, Shelly flips her Beetle over to get some helmet time with the blacktop. I will say, at least she's managed to stay in her car this time.
So far.
Right, so far. This is only Heat 2.
Then everyone goes end over end coming off the jump in Clunker Canyon.
Oliver Cooper goes hard into the car carriers and goes spinning wildly trying to regain control of that Honda.
Well, someone who had an abundance of control was the V-Man, because he was able to steer around Shelly's Beetle and block her to a stop against the Clunkers, all while sending a few over the side to put on a pyrotechnic show for the fans.
Well, he is a pro racer, so it makes sense he'd also be a pro show-off.
But apparently even the pros can make miscalculations, because he manages to get ahead of Oliver Cooper and cut him off. but he gets just a little too close to the wall, and that sends him ricocheting into the other side of the track. And while he was able to recover quickly, it was not quick enough to prevent allowing Oliver Cooper to sneak across the line.
Well, one place Oliver Cooper is not sneaking onto is the scorecard, because while the V-Man stays in first place overall, Oliver Cooper just stole second place from Shelley Harper.
We are back at the Guillotine Gate for Heat 3.
Oliver Cooper, fresh off his win, is in the pole position. The Twingo makes it to the front line in lane 2. As always, in lane 3 is our clunker. The V-Man is center screen in lane 4. And Shelley Harper, with a fresh new scratch-free helmet, is in lane 5.
3, 2, 1, go!
Cooper leads.
He flips! V-Man has a blowout and is out!
Everyone is hard off the jump.
Cooper and Shelley are locked at the fenders! Shelley blocks!
It's a battle.
Shelley is first across the line! Wow, that was so close I need to see it all again, Al.
Did you see Oliver Cooper, Barry? He definitely had the VTEC kick in the way he launched out of the gate.
But our remote control clunker relies on good old-fashioned raw horsepower. And he caught up in the bottleneck and sent Cooper flipping.
Well, someone else who must have been flipping was the V-Man, because I'm sure he wasn't too happy with his 500E having a double blowout, causing him to lose 2 tires so early in the race.
And professional or not, no one is winning any races when half your car is on rims.
Well, in Clunker Canyon, the rest of the group was on their roofs, which makes it seem like everyone is having trouble landing that jump clean in this race. And in the wide shot, we could see that for the second heat in a row, Oliver Cooper goes spinning wildly trying to regain control of that Honda.
But it looks like Oliver and Miss Harper got their side view mirrors locked in that bang-up and can't get their cars loose as they try to leave Clunker Canyon.
But it looks like Shelley decides, since she can't shake Oliver off, she's gonna slam into him and force both cars into the wall. And it also looks like Shelley was paying attention to our last replay, because she avoids going into the opposite wall like the V-Man and instead cuts in to block. It's like she's telling that blue Civic, there will be no sneaking across the line this time, Mr. Cooper. And she makes it across the line first, with Mr. Cooper right on her bumper.
And with that 1-2 finish by the members of Team Now, we have our first ever 3-way tie for first place. Everyone has 8 points, except for Miss Marie Claire Duchamp, who has been unable to cross the line in her Twingo. But she'll have to wait for her chance to score, because now it's time for our halftime show with the newest addition to the Scrapyard with the amazing stunt woman, Captain Terabelle.
Oh, no, it's not time for no halftime show.
What?
We have a 3-way tie for first place. That has never ever happened before in Scrapyard history. Sorry fans, after this race is over, you'll have to watch one of our other quarterfinal races if you want to see Captain Terabelle perform.
Perform? You mean crash?
No, what I mean is, we're going back up to the Guillotine Gate right now and starting Heat 4. And here we are. We have a 3-way tie for first place, and this heat is essential to break that tie. In fact, I'm so excited to get this one started, I'm just gonna ask you great fans at home to look at the screen, see who's in which lane, and let's not waste any more time, and let's get racing. Hit that countdown button, Barry.
3, 2, 1, go!
Barrel roll in the bottleneck.
Oh, into the safety crew!
The Civic is out.
The Twingo pulls through!
The V-Man and Shelley are out.
Marie Duchamp all alone and across the line! Wow! What an incredible performance!
This just blows my mind, Barry. Shelley Harper had a huge lead coming down Nevada, but she totally blows it by barrel rolling in the bottleneck. Man, she cannot avoid keeping her helmet off the track. But hey, at least she's been able to stay inside her car this whole race. For now.
But then in Carmine Corner, Marie-Claire Duchamp pulls off her own barrel roll from the inside lane and delivers a devastating block, sending Shelley Harper back onto her helmet.
Meanwhile, the Civic has all types of trouble and slams into one of the safety crew's vehicles.
And that's why I had this platform installed.
What are you talking about, Wow Bob?
You see, I had this here platform installed to raise up the Yellow Jacket to keep her safe from these here exact type of smash-up incidents. And the ways I'm figuring, as head of the safety crew, looking after the safety of the Yellow Jacket and her crew, which is me, is literally in my job title.
Wow Bob, I don't think that's how the safety crew is supposed to work.
Moving on. Just like Marie-Claire Duchamp was moving on in the Twingo with a huge lead coming into Clunker Canyon.
In the wide shot, we can see that she did pull off an amazing looking J-turn. I think even an old pro like the V-Man was so impressed he had to pull over to applaud.
Then Miss Duchamp, who has had problems getting across the finish, lines up in the boulevard and gives that little Twingo everything it has and rockets across the line.
And that performance is why at the start of the replay I said this is blowing my mind. Because with that win, Miss Duchamp just turned the heat that I thought would break the three-way tie and turn this race into anyone's game.
It's the final heat. We are back to the Heat 1 lineup. Shelley Harper in Lane 1, the V-Man in Lane 2, our Clunker in Lane 3. Lane 4 is Marie-Claire Duchamp in the Twingo, and Lane 5 is Oliver Cooper's Civic SI.
This race is so up in the air right now, Barry. If the Twingo comes in first place again, she could steal the whole event after being scoreless for so long. This one is gonna be wild. Okay, no more blabbing. Let's get to that countdown.
Al, the only one blabbing is you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go!
Upside down calamity!
The Twingo is out! The V-Man all alone!
Shelley Harper is up! It's the V-Man across the line!
Whoa! Did you see that? He's sending a message. He just crossed the finish line twice.
Okay, slow it down, Al. We'll break it all down in the replay.
This just blows my mind again, Barry. All four racers and the Clunker keep things relatively clean coming down Nevada, and they maintain their composure making their way through the bottleneck. But then, out of nowhere, boom! Everyone is on their roofs in Carmine Corner. Except for Shelley, I drive on my helmet Harper. But she quickly makes up for it by scraping her helmet yet again coming off the jump in Clunker Canyon.
And unfortunately, the heat ends there as well for Marie-Claire Duchamp's Twingo and Oliver Cooper in the Civic. Then in the wide shot, we could see what racing professionalism truly looks like when the V-Man effortlessly spins that Mercedes around and gets that engine firing on all cylinders.
Then, my favorite part, in what wasn't anyone's heat game, the V-Man straightens up, and not only does he cross the line, he does it twice, just to remove any doubt. It's like he's saying, you want to know who won this race? Me! That's who!
But with that performance, while the V-Man left no doubt who won first place, we now do have doubt who's in second.
Who?
Who's in second?
That's what I said, who?
Al, don't even try to start that old gag, especially not when it's time for... Sudden death. I guess while we were robbed of a show by the amazing Captain Terabell, a sudden death match is a delicious consolation prize.
Okay, everyone should know the rules by now. But if not, the first one to cross the line will be joining the V-Man in the semi-finals. In Lane 1, it's our remote-controlled Clunker. In Lane 2, it's Shelley the Helmet Harper. In Lane 3, it's Oliver Cooper in the Civic SI. Let's do this.
3, 2, 1, go!
Civic in the air.
Harper on her helmet!
Both cars upside down. Clunker pulls off a J-turn. Clunker makes it across the line.
I don't believe this! I need to see that again. Replay time, Barry. How is it possible that my mind is blown for a third time in a row, Barry?
Luckily, you have such little mind to blow, Al.
Hey!
Unlike Oliver Cooper, who was blown through the air like a maple leaf in October. But then in Carmine Corner, Shelley Harper pulls off a barrel roll using her helmet. Hey, Al. Maybe you should borrow one of Shelley's many helmets to protect your delicate little mind from being blown.
Not funny, Barry, but I'll tell you what did get blown in Clunker Canyon. Oliver Cooper and Shelley Harper's chances at winning, because they both come to a halt while the Clunker pulls off a remote-controlled J-turn and speeds out of the canyon.
Right, Al. And then the Clunker rockets across the line, and it makes Scrapyard history for being the first ever Clunker to win a sudden death match. So you know what that means.
It means another sudden death heat.
The Clunker remains in lane 1. However, mandatory lane change now sees Oliver Cooper's blue Civic SI in lane 2, which moves Shelley Harper and the Beetle convertible into lane 3.
3, 2, 1, go!
So close! Harper on her helmet again! Tumbling off the jump!
The Clunker is out! Oliver Cooper is out!
Shelley Cooper in reverse and across the line!
How's your mind holding up this time, Al?
It's just awesome, Barry. Because after an intense battle, we finally have a result. Shelley Harper had a huge lead coming into Carmine Corner, and staying true to form, she comes off the jump and lands on her helmet.
But she's able to make it past the jump, unlike the Clunker and Oliver Cooper, who watches his chances in this tournament come to an explosive end.
And yet someone who was ready to put an end to this whole event was Shelley the Helmet Harper, because she throws that Beetle in reverse and flies down the boulevard. And then she uses the tire wall to spin that VW around for a beautiful photo finish to bring these sudden death matches to a close. With that win, Shelley the Helmet Harper has once again literally used her head to advance to the next round,
where she will be going with tonight's winner, the B-Man, who used all his skills, talents, and experience to be the last surviving member of Team Then in Group 2. We're counting on you, big guy.
Counting on you to lose, because Team Now has a mega advantage going into the semifinals in both Group 1 and now in Group 2.
Well, fans, we hope you've enjoyed our last quarterfinal race.
That's right, Barry. The next time we meet for this event, the Then vs. Now Challenge 3 will be in the semifinals. And again, we'll most likely alter the track somehow to up the excitement even more.
If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and please leave us a comment below to let us know what you thought of this race.
And be sure to like and share this video, or even better, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a race. But in the meanwhile, be sure to check out our playlist to catch up on all our other tournaments and events. And if that's still not enough Scrapyard Diecast racing action for you, go check out our Shorts channel and subscribe.
It's the Then vs. Now Challenge! 3,